Welcome to Team, presented by Cigna, proud partner of the Arizona Cardinals. I'm Kyle Odegard, joined today by John Boyle, digital media reporter for Seahawks.com. John, let's get right into it. I think everybody hears let Russ cook, and that's kind of an internet sensation. What does that mean exactly, and is that a big reason for him being an MVP level quarterback, or is that part of it overblown?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I know that's been a popular Twitter hashtag and internet meme and all that, and their offense is a little different this year. It's not, Russ isn't the offense in that they're throwing a ton. I think he's in the middle of the pack in terms of pass attempts. It's just he's been wildly efficient in terms of you look at passer rating, you look at the touchdown percentage, all those numbers, and they are throwing more. If you look at the early downs, they're throwing more on first and second down. Their third down conversion rate isn't great, but they're just avoiding third down altogether. I think they had the second fewest third downs in the NFL heading into the week. So it's just overall Russell's playing great, and they are putting more of the offense in his hands.
How much has DK Metcalf's emergence really helped the passing game? I think a lot of people know about Tyler Lockett, but DK Metcalf, you look at the numbers, and he's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL at this point. How big of a help is he, and what has he done to transform his game?
He's been awesome this year, and obviously he's been a big part of it. He's numbers-wise one of the top receivers in the NFL, and big play threat. It's really that dual threat they have of both Metcalf and Tyler Lockett that it's hard to just try to take one guy away. We saw Minnesota do a pretty decent job limiting Tyler Lockett's opportunities, and then DK Metcalf goes out and has a big game. So in terms of what he's done to improve, I think a lot of it's just that natural progression of year one to year two. And then he put in a lot of work with Russell Wilson this offseason. The two of them, before the world shut down with COVID, they went to Mexico together, spent some time, that wasn't football stuff, but just some time kind of bonding. And then during COVID, he actually quarantined with Russell Wilson for a while down in California at Russell Wilson's offseason home. So even though there weren't all the OTAs and offseason workouts, they got a lot of work in together.
The Seahawks defensively, the numbers aren't too great, and they're going against Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, a pretty good Cardinals offense. What do you think is going to be the key matchup when you look at those two groups? And they've seen Kyler Murray, so that probably helps, but stopping him isn't easy.
Yeah, that's, as we know with Russell Wilson, it's, knowing what a guy can do well and actually stopping it are two very different things. It's funny, the Seahawks pass defense has been the bigger concern for most of the season. They've given up a lot of numbers. Some of that's been a little situational. They've had double-digit leads in 4 of their 5 games in the fourth quarter. So, you play a team who's coming from behind, they're going to throw a ton and put up some numbers. But actually, their last game against Minnesota, the Vikings did run the ball well. It's obviously a different style running game than a quarterback like Kyler Murray, but it's going to be a good test. The Seahawks defense has not lived up to their own expectations this year. They are getting a lot of turnovers, which has helped a lot, and they're getting big stops when they need them, fourth down stops, goal line stops to preserve wins. So they've been kind of clutch in the big moments, but overall they need to be cutting down on the big plays and just overall numbers.
Jamal Adams is a guy who is obviously a difference maker when he's on the field, been battling a groin injury. How is he doing health-wise, and have you noticed a significant difference when he's playing and when he's not?
Yeah, it's we don't know yet in terms of his health, if he's going to play or not this week. Pete Carroll, last time he was asked about it, said they just want to get through the week and see. There was optimism before the bye that he will be back this week, so that's the hope. You're going to be different when you take an all-pro off the field, and that's what he is. He had a sack in each of the first 2 games, double-digit tackles the first week. So, the good news is Ryan Neal, guy who stepped off the practice squad to replace him, has played very well. But, he's not going to be quite the same caliber of player. And Jamal Adams is so unique in the way he does so many different things, blitzes, all that. So that part's a little different with their defense when he's not in there. But, yeah, obviously, whenever he's back, that'll be big for the defense.
And this game, at least from a Cardinals perspective, certainly seems like a big one. The Cardinals are 4-2, playing really well off a Monday night, and obviously the Seahawks are undefeated. Well, how do you feel about this game? Does it seem as big from a Seahawks perspective, or are their goals so big that every game is kind of similar at this point for them?
Yeah, if you ask Pete Carroll this question, he's always going to tell you they treat every game the same. His phrase is every week is a championship opportunity. So they're not going to go into it thinking it's a big game that way. But for those of us on the outside, when you look at it, it is probably the biggest test in terms of quality opponent they face this year. And New England's done some pretty good things. Miami's playing pretty well the last couple of weeks, but this will be the best team they play in terms of record. And when we look at all the playmakers on both sides of the ball, we talked about Kyler Murray, obviously. So it is in terms of seeing, in a sense, how real that 5-0 is. Can they go out on the road and beat a really quality team? And then, of course, just the division aspect of it, is there's potentially 3-4 playoff caliber teams in this division. So every one of them should be tough.
Yeah, NFC West is going to be a big battle, and I think everybody's looking forward to this one. John, thanks a lot for helping us out on Team to Team.
Of course, thanks for having me.